What is up? Give me a shout out if you can hear me while I get the lighting good here. If you can hear my voice, give me a shout out in the chat. 619 OTA is in the house, giving me some encouragement on the why are my earnings so low. Y'all didn't catch that. That was one of my first videos. Man, that was a long time. Great. Audio is coming in. We got it. Lima Charlie, as some friends of mine would say. Cool. Well, we got a good show, I think. I hope. We're going to do it together. So I got some show notes. And if there's things that you want to add to the end, let me know and I will write them down. Like any good Scrum Master does, I have sticky notes. So we're going to go over manufacturer drop. We're going to talk about consensus 2020 and some Helium appearance there. We're going to talk about light hotspots and what's the hubbub about. And let's see here. What else? Oh yeah, Denylist editions. What? I went through my first Denylist edition, so we'll talk about that too, and I'll teach you all how to do it. So, teach you the elite skills of hunting for gamers. So we'll talk about the Denylist. What else? It's just what I've been up to. Obviously, I haven't done a live stream for a long time, and I've been busy. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Some happenings, and then of course AMA style. Where are you guys? And you all know. Oh, sensors. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we'll throw that in there before the AMA. I can talk a little bit about that. Although I gotta fire up my Arduino. I'm not. All I'm doing right now so far in that is just doing some example code. So I will fire that up and then share my screen later on that. So good topics. All right, well, let's hit it. So manufacturer drop. I'm gonna throw this in the chat here. Ooh, mappers. Yeah, we can talk about a little bit about that too. Let me get my link out here. So right away, I want to throw out this link. As I try and do, since last year, I've been doing this more than a year now. It's crazy. If y'all remember last year, I did a video and it was there were trees behind me and it was in bloom. Well, now those trees are in bloom again. So it's really, really fun to think about how far we've come and just going back, looking over my previous videos and seeing how the progression is done there. But one of the things that we talked about in a lot of those live streams is where to get miners, because that's still a thing. So tomorrow you can get a minted miner, and that's at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So you got to be there. There's no queues. There's no nothing. So they're really trying to make this a true drop. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I would love for your referral there, because that gets into my next point. But let's go through manufacturers first, because that's most important. So miners, this is awesome. So obviously Minted's got the drop tomorrow. Then Bobcat is now shipping their Bobber 500, which you can get, at least last I checked, it was still available. I was actually watching the link beforehand to try and see if I could order one or whatever. So Bobcat is having lead times of, what did I write down? 4 to 8 weeks. 4 to 8 weeks to get a Bobber 500. And they're doing the really cool thing. So you don't have to buy the antenna if you don't want to, which is awesome. We weren't able to do that previously with the Freedom Fi stuff. So this is like another edge, is like, if you don't want to do the 5G mining yet, because technically there's no rewards yet, that's a thing, and you don't want to pay for the extra expense, that's fine. You can pay for the Bobber 500 and then add that antenna in later. So that's really awesome. I'm super excited. Bobcat did a great job there. And then sleeper pick. Wow. So Nebra's back. And they actually, in the email that went out today, I saw that they're forecasting lead times, and guess what, guys? They're less than a year. So 10 to 12 weeks is what they're giving lead times out now. Like, it just blows my mind that they made it. And I mean, that's a huge congrats to them. That's been a long haul, and to all you people that have been waiting for their miners to come. You feel like you missed the boat. It's still early. Honestly, if you had some money saved up and you're going to buy some more miners, geez, with token prices now so low, I would totally buy some of that and just see what happens. Um, or you can wait, see if it drops more. There's of course lots of stuff. I don't recommend going out in crypto Twitter to get all your advice on what to do. Do your own research, as they say. So those are three different ones. I know Linksdot is shipping now. There was some hubbub I saw earlier on some forum or on the Discord about that. But Linksdot is shipping, and they even did made a referral payment. So to influencers that did it. So that's awesome. Personally, I don't like to take a payment unless you get your miners. If you're using my referral code, I sure appreciate it, but I want you to be happy first. So if you're getting your miners, then I get paid. That's the best thing. So I appreciate that when they can even just send out small little things for those that did get shipped. So, all right. So all that to say, I really appreciate the referral codes. I'm actually wanting to save my tokens and not sell them so that I can hopefully save up and go to not Consensus 22. I looked at the tickets and they're like $2,000. So I guess if you want to sponsor my trip to Consensus 2022, let me know and maybe we can work out a deal. But for getting to Helium's event, which is called Helium House ATX, so they're having a special event. There's even a welcome party. So if I remember right, this is on the 10th or the 11th. I got to look at my notes. Anyways, you can look at it. I'll drop the link out here too if you want to sign up for that. I believe that this is the correct link. Somebody check me on that. But so they're having a welcome party the night before, which means we're all going to hang out for the first time in ever. I don't know. I mean, there's been local Helium meetups, but this is the first one. It's going to be in Austin. So I hope y'all can go. I hope I can go. The tentatively planning on going, but we'll see what happens. Again, I would love those referral codes so that I can just, hey, I want to go. Referrals paid for. Money in, money out. Awesome. And that's an exciting thing. So that's why I'm shilling the discount code. So you can check any of my videos, and all the discount codes are on the comments. Let's see here. What else do I got for you? Okay, so that's Helium House ATX. I'm betting that we're all going to probably have some drinks together. So yeah, let's see here. Oh, that brings me to my next one. And in my opinion, I'm going to crack this open because, well, they deserve it. So here, Helium devs are doing something, and they're continuing to do something. So this is to you. There you go. This one's for you. It has been a long haul, and I know it's still a long haul. Huge shout out to Coco Tang, as she's been doing a wonderful job of talking about the light hotspots and just issuing just announcements on what's happening. What are the bugs? What have we found? You know, it's going on, and I was so surprised when somebody was like saying that like helium's a rug and all this stuff. Now I'm all for considering some thoughts like that. However, I mean, you're just seeing the network actually come back to life after light hotspots were launched. And yeah, there were some huge stumbles, but then it's coming up. It's working, and it's slowly coming back. I think it's if you want to visit dashboard.helium.com, that is a live feed of, oh man, Grafana, I believe is what they're using there. I could be wrong on that, but it's basically live dashboarding metrics software, which is really cool. So yeah, beer. Oh, I didn't even drink to that. So yes, drinking to light hotspots. And I know there's a lot of still work to do, but wow, I'm impressed. Way to go, team. So yeah, that's a good beer. Okay, I'm just trying to watch the comments here. I see someone else is having a logger, so I will cheers you from afar here. Questions: will light hotspots have less data usage? Yes. Um, Full hotspot using 30 to 50 gig a month, that could be possible. We got to see. Honestly, I mean, they've still said that don't remove your uh, port forwarding right now. It's still very much if they did a rollback, which they almost did today, but they were able to meet their threshold criteria for not going that direction. So keep those port forwarding, I guess, open for right now. Or if you're really, really technical and you don't mind switching it back and forth, sure, you could turn it off, but just watch the Discord to make sure. But yeah, I've seen oh gosh, I mean, it was gigabytes of data usage a month, and that's because the blockchain was huge, and they were being hosted on our spots. And I even have, I'm sure all of us are familiar with these. I had another one just in case things ran out or I needed to upgrade from a 64 64 gigabyte card to 128. I have one that I did in the field for a host, and for some reason it was on for a day or two. So I left, and they live a few hours away. So I was not able to. It's been down since because I haven't been able to travel because lots of stuff going on. So I still need to go down there and do that. So let's see here. Um, Seriously, I used a 50 gigabyte T-Mobile plan in 9 days. Wow. I would assume that has also remember one of the problem conditions is that when it reaches that, or when there's little amount of memory, sometimes basically the hotspot would just throw up its hands and say, I give up, and it would restart all the way from the beginning again and sync the entire thing. Or if you have those like all the updates that were going out, that could also cause a lot of data usage. So maybe the wise thing is, if you're like, I'm not crazy about these all the firmware updates and potential syncing issues during this time, I'm going to hold off until light hotspots are a little bit more mature. And then that's probably a good idea, so that you're not incurring a lot of cost, right? With token price down as well, if you're trying to make sure that you have equal in, equal out cash, or then you would maybe want to consider that. But yeah, um, feel free, if you're really technical and you know what you're doing, turn off the port forwarding for now. Okay, so what else with light hotspots? So I have, I actually in my thumbnail, for this video, I have this is the data only M2 from SenseCap, and they asked me to do written content. So I won't cover all of this in like an unboxing. I will have written content, and I did do an article. Oh, let's see here, a blog style entry a week ago. If you haven't seen that, I'll get you the link for that and drop that. But this has been fun. I'm actually had some interesting problems with onboarding this. Apparently, I couldn't find it when I was Bluetooth searching. So I've been working with support. They've been really, really nice, very responsive as I've been doing that. So there's that. So that's one of the things that's kind of working on the side as I have time. I was hoping to just knock it out yesterday, but then I ran into that onboarding problem. So let's see here. What else with light hotspots? So that will be a data only thing. So that now in your brain, like, full gateways kind of just go away, and all of those become light hotspots is what was happening. And then there's going to be these data only hotspots, and they've already been out. Dragino has one. Obviously, SenseCap has one. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Is it PoE ready? Yes, it is. So the SenseCap M2 data only is PoE ready. So yes, that's actually how I'm powering that. If you didn't see that already, I had an Ethernet cord in one end, and then the only other cord was the one to the antenna, and that antenna is quite huge. It's like, actually, I have the Bobcat one here. Here we go. So there's the Bobcat one. And then here is the sense cap one. Gotta make sure the miner doesn't fall. That would be a support nightmare. So yeah, here, size differences. And yes, cue all the jokes that will start with that. They were already rolling on the Bobcat one. And then even my wife saw it and was like, So yeah. Office is super messy. Obviously, I'm not in really high amount of YouTubing mode right now, just because getting work done, grinding. So if you thinking that I have been silent, oh no, I'm still working. Ed, what if we have hotspots brand new, unopened? Will they update to light hotspots on their own? Well, if they don't have power, then obviously if they're still in the box, then no. That's the easy answer. But if you have as soon as you get them on, like, plugged in and onboard, I'm not sure if you have to like onboard them first and then they will update, or if you can just plug them in, have them connect, and then they'll update on their own. That's a good question. I'm not sure, but obviously it would be required for mining. So I hope that answers your question. Any other light hotspots questions out there? So maybe just a refresher about light hotspots is that they will not retain the blockchain anymore. So no, pretty much immediate mining. So that they're just like listening for challenges and then issuing beacons and then listening for other hotspots beaconing. So that's kind of their function now. And then challenges. So challenges used to be done by these things called, they would start with seed nodes, and seed nodes are operated, I think that's the right phrase. Yes, seed nodes, I think so. So yeah, they're operated by Helium. And I even asked one of the devs about that one time, because I was like, is there something weird going on? Can you like somehow magic up more challenges going across the internet? And he said no, because they come directly through Helium. So where was I going with that? Anyways, so challenges used to be constructed by the full gateways, but now they will be done by the validators. So now we're going to lose a little bit of earnings on that. It wasn't much for creating challenges, but it is a little bit, and that will go to the validators as a reward for them pushing that out. Welcome. If you're just joining, we're talking about light hotspots. If you want to catch up, of course, start from the beginning, or you can watch it later. We talked about manufacturers and the Helium event that they're having, like in person, which is cool. Excuse me. All right, and then I thank you for the block height as well. That's a really good number to watch for. You need to make sure that your hotspot will sync all the way up to that point, because basically it has blinders on until it syncs up to that point in the blockchain. Then it sees that point, and then it's like, oh, hotspot. So maybe that will help that earlier question about if that update process is going to be a little bit tighter. Now I know that Nebra open sourced their update mechanism, so maybe there might be a fresh image that immediately goes out and grabs, and just like new firmware, okay, and downloads that to the hotspot. So we'll have to see. I have not, other than this data only miner that I have right now, I have not onboarded a miner recently. Will light hotspots make HNT earnings more accurate and indicative of network contribution? That's a great question. I like that question. So HNT earnings will probably be more fluid. So one of the things that they were doing, as you see, they're constructing challenges, right? And they're limiting the overall number of challenges, because as soon as that goes out, there's all this computational work that needs to happen, and that was previously happening, on the gateways themselves. And then the validators were participating in that and making sure that everything was great. So because they're keeping that down so the network can stay afloat. Amir Halim talked about this in the podcast once about how it feels like they're flying an airplane and they're they're still constructing the airplane while it's flying and making sure that it doesn't crash. So that's the kind of tweaking that they're doing as the network is scaling up, and I mean, almost a 1 million nodes on the network now, and that's just mind blowing that they're able to, as we've been able to do, mine for the most part for years now. And that's just, and there's been a couple breaks, but for the most part, we've been able to mine pretty much constantly. Um, only a couple times have they done a chain halt. So you think about, geez, with crypto markets down and projects getting rugged all over the place, this is a great time to look at all the projects you're invested in or all the other ones that are around, and everything's being tested. If there's money flowing, or if that money flowing to the system decreases, then there could be problems. And so, like, the fact that they're continuing to work really, really hard, and the community is working very hard, and the network is succeeding, I think it's a good sign that this is a worthwhile investment. Of course, that's just my opinion on that. And again, it's like, it's probably worthwhile to like play the, oh, I'm gonna kill the company type of idea, right? Are there any competitors in the space? Are there any you know toxic ways that could rot from the inside or something like that? Are financials good? All that kind of stuff. And I feel like those questions have been asked, but they're always worth asking. If you've got some skepticism, healthy skepticism is good. That helps us survive, right? That's where we're beings of survival. Okay, will we see more than 14 witnesses per beacon again? I would assume so. We're gonna see a lot more of that. Right now, it's kind of like if you just took the car in and maybe you couldn't afford the perfect mechanic, and so you're like, I like what my brother-in-law worked on the car. He said he knew what needed to happen. And so that first time you take the car out, you're going to drive a little more carefully. And so that's where they're at right now with Helium, is just trying to assess that, hey, okay, can we go faster? Let's increment this number a little bit, test it out. And really what they're trying to do is do that in testnet before they do it on mainnet. But of course, testnet probably doesn't have the scale of mainnet, right? Close to 1 million nodes with all sorts of latencies introduced, and network complexities and all that kind of stuff. It's tough. It's tough to keep that all together. So they're really trying to slowly increase the complexities and the pressure on the network to make sure that it's working um, as expected. And of course, they're seeing every time that they raise that just a little bit, oh, that fails. Okay, so we got to bring it back down and understand that bug. And then they can take that, replicate it back in testnet, and then that's what they were doing. Like last night, they found a really good bug, and so it's really good stuff. It's standard software development. I'm just really impressed with how they're doing it. It seems to make sense. Of course, my background is in software development, and I think they're just hitting it all on all cylinders, in my opinion. Of course, and then they freaking opened their dev chat, so you can even go in and watch the developers talk about, like, did you check that? Oh, yep, that's a good idea. Or I like, even Amir is like participating in that chat too. So it's really cool to see everybody like hopping on board, like all hands on deck. I remember that was even one of Coco's messages. So it was really cool to see that. Okay, let's see here. Testnet can be scaled. They need to create virtual hotspots. Yeah, I love testability, unit testing. Oh my gosh, yeah, we're of one mind on that. I love it, being able to have a scaled load testing, all that kind of stuff. It's good stuff. So yeah, if you're just getting into software development, don't skip out on that, please. Especially if you're working in a scaled scaled scenario. Don't mess it. I remember once I was working on this project, and the manager, we were already late on the project, but the manager fought tooth and nail to get us to do load testing on it before we launched, and the manager saved her butts because we did one load test and it all fell apart. So and he said he did that because previously it failed somewhere else in the company, and they got I think they immediately said nobody gets raises for the next year. And I was like, whoa. So he didn't want that to happen. So little bit of nuggets here for about how hard it is to do software development. It's very hard. So yeah, shout out to that manager. Okay. Is there anything else on light hotspots that we want to discuss? I could have talked a lot for that, but I want to, if there's any more, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to go to the Denylist stuff. Look out. Actually, I'm going to take a drink while you see if there's anything else for light hotspots. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Costs. What's happening with costs? Right, the light hotspots would have a potential for basically less component cost. Right, you don't have to store the entire blockchain. You don't maybe have to have as much high media of a processor, all that kind of stuff. So that will drive down costs. Now, the key question is what's going to happen to those costs, right? As now on chat, they're pointing out that the parts are still expensive, right? Supply chain issues are still out. Now, I believe that the light hotspots are going to be able to step down from the Raspberry Pi to something else that is more readily available. Maybe I think I heard that maybe on the podcast or something like that. So something to be aware of. Already we're seeing like that sense cap, the M2 the data only one that I just showed, that is for sale for $199. So not too bad. Of course, you're not going to get proof of coverage rewards for that. Again, that's not a light hotspot. That's a data only hotspot. Key difference. Don't get those confused. I'd hate to find out any of you ordered one and thinking you get the other, and then you're not earning as much. So make sure you're getting the gateway, not the data only. And I feel like the manufacturers have been really good about specifying that it's data only. Okay, so cost should go down, hopefully. I think that's it, even from what I'm seeing with price competition, is that the miner costs are coming down, right? And then there was an injection of funds on the 5G side that was intentionally supposed to bring those gateway costs down to about $500. So yeah, as I just pointed out, about half price. So hopefully we're going to see miners go down in cost by that much, and then you'll be able to use the calculator on Explorer to look up a miner or look up your miner and see what I believe it's AHR. If I bring up one of the things here, I won't share my screen here, but yeah, AHR. So it stands for annualized hotspot return. So basically, if you order a hotspot, how fast is it going to get you your money back? Oh, 5G. Oh yeah, I didn't even include that on the list. Maybe I'll include that at the end. How about that? Under the AMA section, we'll talk about 5G a bit more. I'm gonna also note something else that I'll talk about too. So, man, I hope y'all are it's gonna be fun. You're gonna have a lot. I see all the statuses on the hips. So that's one of my personal kind of pet peeves, right? So in my day job, I'm a scrum master, and of course I want to deliver value, and I see these items on the backlog as hips, and I'm like, when is this going to get done? There's so many hips in the backlog. I want to see them get done. What is most important, right? And ranking all that. I'm going to dodge hip discussions for right now. I think that deserves its own podcast. If you have some, and I'll take notes on what are the most important ones that you want to cover. I know that tomorrow night, I think it's tomorrow night, there's Helium is going to do an event specifically on some of the hips, like a batch of hips, I think, all together. Um, and so get on their Discord and learn about that. But yeah, if you want to throw some hips in the chat that you want me to cover, definitely do it, and I will cast that forward to another live stream. Yes, fix the network and do add-ons after. I totally agree. Yep. And that goes back to, even like, I saw a question recently on the GitHub for the redenomination, and they're like, what where is it? Like, we voted on it. Why isn't it done? And like, due to complexities and also light hotspots, it was basically is like, do you want to do the redenomination or do you want to do light hotspots? And like, the network's like scaling up huge, and we're like, it's kind of going to crash, and you're like, should we do something that makes the people on the airplane happier, or should we actually make sure that they can just keep flying? And so that was the kind of the call that, and now I don't know if that actually was the case of what they were weighing the decision on, but that's basically is what they have to make decisions on to order the implementations. I don't, well, so I think redenomination is wrapped up in one of the hips. I don't remember which one, but it is included. So rest assured, it's still being attended to. So, okay, then let's get to Denylist stuff. So this can make some people frustrated. Obviously, there's like the whole reason. And this even relates to hip 40. So again, we're talking a little bit about a hip. But the Denylist was started because basically as a temporary solution, right? We're trying to be attentive to light hotspots that the network can scale. Of course, there's voted things that are still waiting, but can't ignore people who are gaming the system. And so at least that it reached critical mass where the community cared about it and put forth, and Helium leadership also, or the whole Helium Nova team, as I probably now say, cared about that enough to say, okay, let's put in a stopgap to address this. And so the Denylist is still managed by Nova Labs and a team that I think they're calling the POC working group, something like that. So that's what's going on there. And so they manage it. The intention is to be decentralized in nature. And then of course, long-term with HIP 40, then it would improve how those lists are made, and actually I think even provide funding maybe for that kind of research and support. I'm not sure on that part, but I believe that there was just there's an intention to have validators be able to like opt into different Denylist operators. So all right, so I'm actually going to go into a demo here, and we're going to talk about one of these that I found the other day. So I want to make sure that I have all my tabs ready here, just so that I don't have any surprises. So stand by while I should have checked this earlier, but I wasn't thinking about it. There's a lot of tabs. This is a huge cluster, which is why it got my attention. Okay. Yeah, we're good. All right. We'll share the screen here. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to see chat at this time, so I'm going to have to probably go back and forth. But if I click on the chat, then I have to then it shows the screen, and then I get this weird mirroring thing. So I'll have to kind of go back and forth. So bear with me as I get through this. So how did I get here? Right. I live near Minneapolis. That's no secret. I still haven't doxed my own miner names and such. but I do pay attention to what's in the area, and I know that other people do too. And so what happened is I've got friends that live outside of the cities, and so I kind of watch. And actually, I maybe a shout out to Hotspotty here is that Hotspotty actually clued me in a little bit more. So they have a Denylist filter on there. Like you can highlight everything that's on the deny list. So all like on the map, all of the hotspots go away, and just the ones that are on the deny list are there. And it was an incredibly useful tool because I was like, whoa, 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 what's going on over here? And it was a lot. And I was like, wow. And then I just happened to like zoom out and just like, oh, geez, like where else are things going on? So I zoomed out and I found this cluster over here. And maybe I should just go back to Explorer. There we go. So I zoomed out of Minneapolis and boom, I saw it like, wow, that is huge. And I've actually been to this town to a music festival that they had in the summer. So this was the one, and I was like, man, I don't remember it being that large, right? Like I can zoom out and see a lot of clusters, but when all of a sudden like something pops like that, I'm like, whoa, what's going on there? And so it just clued me in, like, I want to check this out. What's going on there? Like, is somebody just owning this town and doing a great job? If so, good for them. So I zoomed in on this and I started clicking on things. Um, and so you just pick any hex, and this is kind of like, okay, how do we add, or how do we start looking? So if you don't have any skill set for how to find gamer spoofers, this is the part where you probably want to bookmark this and share it with your friends if they want to start going and adding things to the deny list. This is not what I normally spend my time on. I like we'll talk about later, but I got a sensor project that I'd rather work on than this. But didn't want to ignore this one. So, okay, what's going on? All right. So if this was me, and I set up this cluster, I'd be really happy, right? I order a bunch of miners, I set it all up, and they're witnessing to each other. That's awesome. So I would be very happy with this setup, making decent. Now it looks like it did flatline recently, and that could be because of the light hotspots and what's going on there. But so other things to look at is it's 0 meters, 1.2 dBi. So this is just stock stuff. They didn't alter the antenna information at all. They just went with the defaults there. It is a Panther miner. So if you're making a huge order on miners, of course it's easiest, right? You're looking for easiest money. You're going to look for the like batch from the next huge batch that's coming out, right? So that's one element. And then what else did I go here? I just kind of like went up to like, okay, cool. What other hotspots are on here on this owner? So I let me go back there and just highlight that. Hopefully this isn't too much of a bore as far as how to work Explorer, but sometimes you like this stuff. So so this is the owner field right here. So this is the hotspot address, which is like the phone number, almost like for the hotspot. And then this is the owner. So if you're going to send HNT to somebody, to a person, you would want to click this, and then you could literally like scan this QR code and send them money. Now, with my theories here, I would not suggest sending it to this person. So, but they probably love it. So maybe I should just send them like, hey, sorry, I used your hotspot for YouTubing. So, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Now, going back to this owner and the hotspots. So I see that all of a sudden there's a lot of hotspots. There's 25 in this. So like, wow, that's to have that many on one wallet is quite impressive. Is this a fleet owner, a host company, right? Then looking at this, like it's all in kind of the same town. So they're all in Wilmer on this one. Okay, so, and they're earning, some of them are offline. Okay, well, what's the proximity to these? So I go back to uh, the witness list, right? And I can see, okay, 2.4 kilometers, 950 meters, it kind of varied results, right? There's some transmit scales that, maybe they aren't optimized in placement, but, that maybe seems okay. But what I wanted here was I wanted to ask, okay, are there any of these hotspots, are they basically all witnessing each other? Like, and back in the early days, this was a very common occurrence, right? You would put in a cluster, and even I did this. I put a cluster in one town, did all legit installs. All the hosts actually ended up buying their own hotspots, so it was a cool thing. But if you would have looked at that at the very beginning, you would have said, "Oh, like with the lens that we're doing now," you said, "Oh, that person's gaming," right? Uh, so basically, that's kind of what this is doing. So I was like, how could I look at this and see if all of these hotspots that are in this wallet are basically witnessing each other, and if they're not, are they witnessing to other wallets? And so I just kind of went down that line of thinking. I was like, well, this is a lot. And I don't want to comb through 25 hotspots of records and witness receipts to figure this out. So I wrote some code. Uh, that's again my past. So let's go and show some of the code that I wrote. And I won't dwell on this. This is just kind of technical stuff that I'll get into like very, very briefly. So I just put the um, one cluster in here to start with. And then basically I went from there. And so this is kind of like an amoeba. So it would say, all right, here's the host wallet. And I'm going to go through all of the hotspots in that wallet and then see if they basically who they witness to. And then I'm going to keep track of other wallets. So then I basically get a collection of wallets. Now, of course, if you're in a very decentralized um, install place where there's lots of different wallets, lots of different owners, well, then this is going to grow really quickly, and like you're going to have tons and tons and tons of wallets. So this is a very easy mechanic to just say, okay, is this sus, as they say. Shout out for Sussbots if you want to go on and report these on that list. That's a tool that I can't remember his name. I think it's Rob is trying to work on. So what this does is it basically is an amoeba. It goes through all of the hotspots and gets the wallets and scales out through those just to see how many hotspots are there. And so I basically started this up, and eventually I violated the API. So I'm actually going out and checking against the Helium API. So this isn't just data I downloaded or manufactured. It was literally from Helium's API. So it's like live results. So basically I just got a 404 at one point. So this is a little hinky. I haven't gotten all the bugs out of like retries and stuff. Sometimes it even says back like, dude, you're hitting us a little too hard. Can you wait? And I haven't improved it for that, but I did post this code, so I'll post the link later. So that's basically what it does. Is it just says, okay, here's all the hotspots out there, and how they relate to another and witness to each other. And so then I found basically three total wallets that were included. Um, and basically tracking this is basically that they're all witnessing each other within all of these wallets. They're all witnessing each other. So if I just like start breezing through these tabs, you're going to see these lines basically cross while it loads up. And some of these are inactive, so they're asserted but not actively mining for some reason. And so basically I just started looking through these like, hey, are there miners? Is this all like one cluster? Is there anything else in this town that is basically by itself, that even a different manufacturer at this point? And so I did find one. I gotta find what it was again. Watch, I'm not going to be able to find it. Well, basically through my analysis, I'm like, this looks suspect enough. I'm gonna report this. So for the first time, I went out to Helium Denylist. I'll drop this link in the chat and actually start a case on this. So they have the how to use it on here. So you want to go to additions to this list, and so then you can open an issue. So you just click here and you open an issue. And so this is basically where I did. And so I just put in large multi-owner Panther cluster. And so basically this is the address for every single hotspot in all. And then basically put the reasons. The cluster only witnesses itself. It's all of one manufacturer. It doesn't witness anyone outside of the same wallets. So the local example being Radiant Honey Parakeet. There we go. That was the one. I put that in there for a reason. So I have to go out here and I don't want to do it on that one. This is the same town, but it is a different manufacturer. And it's actually witnessing some other stuff. But of course, all those miners that are in here, in this cluster that had, I mean, there were hotspots up here that were reaching down here, but this one wasn't being reached. And so you could say, well, maybe this one has a directional antenna. But if you look at ones up here, there are more Panther ones embedded in like even in here. So you're looking at these witness lines where, well, there should be hotspots in between that look decent, where they should pick them up. Granted, it's not going to hit everyone, but like at this cluster, they should be witnessing each other a lot more. So that was weird, is just seeing this, and that this one was so centrally located, and yet it wasn't picking up any of these other ones. So if I go here, and there's only one, yeah. So if I look at this one, this is an OG unit. Now that's going way into the cities. And so I think even like in the witness receipts, some of these are like basically that, yeah, witness too far. So this is another thing. People got really frustrated that that Helium implemented the cap for witnessing and just said that that's too far. So, you know, what's going on here? Well, they could have a really awesome, really tall tower, really awesome directional antenna that's getting into the cities. So if I was going to like say, is this hotspot suspect? Then I would go in and look at like basically witnesses along the way, hotspots along the way. Are they picking up any of this? If these are isolated, these three are isolated and they're not witnessing, the more it is, especially with three of them, there ought to be something over in the city that's witnessing these. So basically, this is the game of finding gamers, I guess, or just researching signal integrity and who you're witnessing to. This can, like, if you have legit setups, you can really use this information. I've used it on like the cluster I installed, where I knew all the locations were legit, but we were experimenting with different antenna types to make sure that we could reach each other. And there were a couple antennas that just didn't work. We're like, okay, we'll change it to this other DBI. And then lo and behold, it did work. So that was really fun to see that and like use that turning the theory into application, right? And using this in a good way. So I'm going to pause here for some questions, but in order to do that, I'm going to get back to my face so that you all don't see this. Holy buckets. All right. Let's see here. I am not seeing any questions on the Denylist stuff at all. I see other questions. What? Matt Long got the new Nebra. Nice. Matt's been in with Nebra. I haven't gotten the new one yet. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions on the Denylist, so I must be doing an insanely good job of explaining it. Did I check their SNR? There's a question. I did not. I did not check in on the the SNR to evaluate those. Got a comment that I'm gonna hold back. There's a comment that I'm reporting normal hotspots. So the cool thing is about this is I can be an idiot about this and submit it, and somebody smarter than me is going to check them and make sure that I did a good report. This is the first time that I've actually reported this because it looked suspect to me. This, like I said, I'm not doing this every day. I have other things I'm interested in, but this was like grabbed my attention. So, um, yeah, I appreciate the comments. Probably should know more about the radio stuff. I definitely need to check into that a little bit more. Um, yeah, that's a valid feedback point. So aside from that, like the location stuff is highly sus. So I'll report that, and then I did report that, and then the Helium team will look further into it and review it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hopefully they, like, if they do, they'll be like, hey, this is why you're wrong. Of course, that's a lot of work for the team to get into and spend that diligence, right? They could easily be inundated with a lot of reports. But I wanted to show this as like how it works and how you could look around your own area. Question is, doesn't light hotspots get rid of the gaming a lot? So that, with the challenges being constructed by validators a little bit, maybe there's a little bit more power that can be done, a little more analysis that can be done by the validators, since the light hotspots will be a little less, hopefully, configurable. But I just don't know, right? They did note in Helium's update that if you altered some config file on the miner, which you shouldn't have, but if you did, they may have like kicked you off the network. So if that might be a case, if you were curious and did some investigating on it, that might be. But yeah, the game always is afoot, right? If you're gaming, if your intention is gaming, and I want to maybe context this. This is something I'm thinking about because, like, basically, if you can extend yourself into a place where gaming, there can be gaming for good and gaming for bad. It's all of what your intentions are and who's the person like orchestrating these things and making their own decisions on it, right? Let's say I am a hardware engineer, I know my stuff, or hardware, firmware, radio guy, whatever you want to call it. I'm smart and I know my stuff, and I want to lend quality to the network. Well, I could try these things out and hack them and then say, yep, I'm using standard field gear, bought them from whatever manufacturer, set it up, and then it's together and working, and like I'm not providing any valuable coverage. And so basically what they can do is then take that case and then send it over to Helium and say, look, this is a case that is not good. This is not providing any coverage. We should try and ferret this out a little bit more and improve the proof of coverage algorithm. So that's so those are the kind of the white hats of it, right? Then there's the black hats, right? That are just they want to make their buck. They don't care how they do it. They'll burn whatever they can as long as it's profitable and it remains profitable. They will continue to do that. And that's a thing. Now, for whatever reason, right? They could be doing it to survive. They could be doing it for fun. Who knows? I'm sure that there's probably some white hats and black hats listening to this stream or will listen to this stream in the future as it gets shipped around. So the intentions are complex, right? And then there's gray hats. Gray hats will kind of go back and forth between them and do some things for good, maybe do some gaming to fund some research to find black hats. But they'll also, in order to get rapport with the black hats, they'll have to act like a black hat, right? And so, and of course, in a world of anonymity and all that kind of stuff, it's just the craziness of it all, right? And if you're like watching this and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? What am I doing? Like, I should stop altogether. This has been going on in in the crypto world, and really, I mean, just not even in the crypto world, like people have been cheating financial systems and other systems for long before this came about. So this is nothing new, right? Um, and if it makes you doubt Helium, right? We've all, like, gaming was happening all the way through the up and all the way through the down, and there's a lot of factors at place. You can't just put it on gaming as it relates to token price. So if you're concerned about that, some concern is absolutely warranted, right? The Denylist wouldn't have been done if it didn't have some credence to it. So now there's an amount of acceptable loss, right? This is why credit cards, like, take a little bit of that money off of your transaction, right, off of the top, because there's cards that go into default. There's corrupt, like, not corruption, but fraud, right? Somebody steals your credit card, and then who foots the bill, right? Well, somebody's got to pay for that, right? So all of this stuff is it's not new. So it's just, how do we play the game? The game always exists, and you can choose to play in the game, or play by the rules, or not, or participate in both, right? That's what the whole black hat, white hat, and gray hat stuff is about. So like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just wanted to make it aware, because if you're aware like me, and you're like, whoa, what's that cluster doing? I mean, I really doubt that this is going to be a long term, like, and this obvious of a gaming mechanism, and people are, like, still calling me out that it could be absolutely legit, and it could, right? I could be wrong. So let's see here. I think that's all I wanted to give on the Denylist. There are lots of good points in here. If you're watching this later and you got some feedback, definitely point me to some resources. Obviously, with the point about analyzing the SNR and RSSI stuff, that would be great. I know that there's some charts on there. I just haven't dug into it too much. So, and I think there was another question about Soren's YouTube channel. Yes, I've seen that. I've seen some of the examples on there. Obviously, very talented individual, very smart, knows his stuff, and he's done some things like, how did you do that? What kind of equipment did you put together to get that thing to do that? I just, like, way above my level. So, right, I'm interested in the application, the sensors, and of course the mining, but like the how it works is I've kind of just treated that as a black box, because that's just not where my knowledge has taken me. So yeah, I like to learn from them, just haven't done it. Maybe a quick shout out. I know Gristle King's going to have Soren on his YouTube channel very soon. Was it tomorrow? I think. So yeah, shout out, go check out his site, and then we can see that go down. Because if you know anything about Nick, is that he doesn't really tolerate any BS. So he'll take it straight on. So I'm also excited to watch that. I will be getting out the popcorn for that one. Yes. So yeah, check it out. Let's see here. What else? Denylist happenings. Okay, that's the next topic on mine, is just what's been going on. I don't even know what super chat is, Matt. Maybe you can enlighten me or talk to me later about that. So what have I been doing? I've been on the tower. Like, I was on the tower for probably a good 4 hours combined this weekend. Is that it was a lot of cable management, basically, and then raising the tower itself. I was able to basically screw. So the tower at the top has a thing that takes the pipe and then holds it, and you can affix it at two points on there. And so I was able to tighten up another pipe onto it with a coupling, and then raise the overall height of the entire thing. And it's really cool, because I can spin that. If I do all my connections right, then basically I can take that, loosen the bolts, and then spin it in any direction that I want to. And so this was especially applicable for the directional antenna that Rack gave me. So another shout out to Rack. Oh, throw up a picture of it. I don't, maybe I can find some pictures here. Okay, I did. It doesn't look like this anymore, but I will placate you. Let's see here. There we go. All right, so this is the tower the way it used. Actually, this is a little bit more recent. So, um, let's see here. Here's the directional antenna, and then I had um, two hotspots in here, and then you can see the this is the over the air TV antenna. And then this is just a box that was housing some gear at the time. Now, both of these I installed incorrectly, and so I had water intrusion. And I think the Bobcat was in this one, and I think it took the brunt of it. I can't remember which one was in which, but they both ended up getting water into it. I was able to save my OG, and I'm still working with Bobcat. I just told them straight up, I'm like, look, if you guys are interested in researching this and helping me, I would love the help. I think the hotspot is just broke. It does turn on, but it just doesn't seem like it works well enough. But anyways, that's beside the point. So this pipe coming through here is where I can actually loosen the bolts on these plates and then raise it and lower it and then also spin it. So what I did was I moved this over the RTV antenna down to this post, and then so it's just off in the direction. Um, Towards the nearest tower, and then basically I can spin this any way I want to for directional testing, and then I still have the 8 dBi antenna up there that is that I'm doing the testing with. So yeah, that's the tower. I think I've showed off some of these other pictures. Take take some. Oh yeah, this was back when I was testing 2 antennas. I got a lot of flack for that. um, yeah, just was great. I got a lot of good vibes on Twitter for that one. But enough of that. I did have a video that I talked exclusively about like what, well, not exclusively. I did a live stream where I talked about what it is, or how I built the tower. So let's see here. 2 hotspots. I think what was it? I think I just saw videos with 2 antennas on there, and I was like, "How did that even work? How do you do that?" And then I threw it up there, and of course, I got roasted by a bunch of people that, it actually worked for a while, and then, like, somehow it just stopped, like, working. The miner still worked, but for some reason, it just the earnings went off, so, um but, actually, that's another interesting thing is that I'm still running 2 hotspots on the tower, and I have them asserted in the right location, and, that is actually like, at first, you're like, "Whoa, you're screwing over your transmit score." Well, if I'm the only one in my square, or sorry, in my hex, then, um, I like, it's 50-50. Or if I have 3 hotspots in my hex, it's whatever, 30-30-30, or whatever it is. Um, so that's how it breaks down, right? So I'm still getting it, and the advantage is I can try different things. I can try different miners, different antennas, and see what's responding, right? So even over this past weekend, I like had my Nebra that I was able to do some mining with and see, is it working for light hotspots? And then lo and behold, it, like, the update hit it, and then it just ended up getting into this reboot loop. And so I was able to quick swap and have one miner replaced. And of course, they drop off the chain in about a day and a half. So you can still get earnings off of that. So I have the indoor Nebra, the one with the just the plastic case. So I don't have the outdoor hotspot. Let's see here. Oh yeah, good call out. Are the Omni antennas lined up with the horizon? They look tilted. Yeah, they were majorly tilted. I had to go back and fix that later on. So um, the polarity is 90 degrees off. I'm not sure what that means. So um, Oh, yes. I think that I know what that means. Yes, actually, I do. I believe. I was actually in a talk with Jeremy from is it Helium Foundation? I think, or does he work for Nova Labs? I can't remember. Anyways, he was so the Yagi is only for over-the-air TV antenna, and so that's so is that the correct orientation or not? I mean, I get really good signal, so I don't think it really matters because it's over the air TV antenna. But the correct way to install a Yagi antenna for um, for Helium is definitely up and down. So if that's true on the on yeah, for TV it's okay. All right. Thanks for the shout. I mean, it's working, so I know it works, right? And that's the cool thing is like I can experiment with it. And does it does it get any better or worse if, with this orientation? But the true orientation for Helium is actually up and down. So you want that thing to actually like let's look like I don't know, a fish swimming, right? You don't want to have it with the horizon. I just spotted. I got a bruise from climbing the tower on there. It's good times. So what other happenings? Obviously, I'm writing the articles. I did the blog entry, which actually that might have been the thing that I shared on it earlier. I thought I was sharing the. Anyways, on Twitter, if you follow me, you can actually subscribe to a newsletter thing. I don't know, it's some integration with Twitter that came kind of like out of the box from Twitter. It's like, hey, do you want to start your own newsletter? I'm like, sure, why not? So I just tried one of those. So there's some interesting things about that. I think it was like profitability and stuff. I kind of went deep and it was fun. So I'm going to do another shorter one, and that's going to be on the SenseCap review. That's all text because that was the thing. I know that I get too wordy sometimes. So the way to improve that is to write. So I am writing. Let's see here. How have my earnings been with light hotspot updates? So yeah, lumpy, super duper lumpy. The cool thing though is with the number of hotspots, right? Even two of them is that they're not all lumpy at the same time. So sometimes I'm actually getting earnings when the other ones aren't earning. And of course, by and large, there's a lot that there's the mining amounts are higher. So it's actually, even though I have like multiple miners there, it's actually nice. So yes, the transmit scale went down, but if I'm the only person in there, it's not like it curves and gets really bad the more you do it. It's actually for the first, I think, couple or few, it just equally divides the earnings between them all. So it doesn't matter if you have two hotspots in there. So that's a huge case. I would have never recommended that at the beginning, but now that I've been trying it, having multiple miners in one location is actually great because you can experiment. And so I think the question is, are they witnessing each other? And because I have the locations asserted correctly, they will invalidate automatically. And they don't because they're having unique coverage. And this was actually why when I put the two miners up there originally, I was like, this could actually be a mechanic for like gaming. Like, is this gaming? And so I analyzed the coverage results, and there was actually like unique coverage, and it wasn't like it was like 50% of the witnesses were lined up. It was more like 20 to 30 because my antenna types are so different. And so that's how you can actually provide better coverage, right? You can throw a 3 dBi on there and then like an 8 dBi or something, or even a directional antenna like I'm doing, and it will work just fine. So yeah, so try it out. Put two miners in one location and see what you get, and try out this, like even getting a directional antenna that the one that I got was pretty expensive. So if you've got some less expensive recommendations for directional Yagi style antennas, let me know. I'd love to check them out, just because it's fun to put that on there. So with people getting banned, why not just report people that you want to take over their hex? Yeah, that's a legit thing. Obviously, reporting others like on the deny list, like that. There are people that are reviewing those, and yeah, that's a legit thing. Like if I like right, if we go back to when I installed that little cluster, like somebody could have pointed at that and said, that's gaming. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody else is witnessing it. They're just witnessing themselves. You're gaming. And that could be far from the truth. And I know that even some people are going out there and like saying, this is my picture of my hotspot, and like trying to argue the point with them. And I think some of them are working and some of them are not. And I think that there is also a decay rate on those entries, is that after a while they'll get pulled off automatically from the deny list. So let's see here. Okay, so that's what other stuff? Oh yeah, sensor stuff. Okay, so so I have two sensors that I'm working with, and this is actually, I think that this is, which one? Yeah, this one has the GPS one. So this has got a bunch of stuff loaded on it. So this is the Helium dev kit from Rack, and you can load the different sensors up for the application that you want. And so that's what I've done, is loaded these up with some different things. And then they have example code out on their GitHub repo that I even said, hey, I couldn't get this work. Can you fix it? And they included a link. And then basically it's been really hard. Like even though I'm a developer, that first time you open up a dev environment and get started and compile code, there's always errors. And to me, that's the most frustrating thing. I don't have a lot of tolerance for that, just because I'm frustrated. Like, it should just work. But of course, that's not the nature of it. And that's so then you have to just get some resilience in there. So basically, I had to figure out how to get the right dependencies installed so that it would actually compile. And so finally, I was able to get some data off of this. And I'm just like, right now, I'm still in. I just want to run the example code and just get data from it, and then I can work on actually like figuring out what I want to do with this. But I do have a project in mind. I'm still keeping it kind of under wraps. So for right now, but once I do have a thing, like in my mind, it's really great. And I could see a lot of people getting very excited about this particular sensor idea, and that people are really going to help market it with me, because it's the only thing I'll say is it's kind of like, it's not life alert, but it is like kind of like an emergency situation that it would maybe have a warning indicator or something like that. Thanks for the call out on the audio. I need to drink more and keep close to the mic. Okay, so sensors is still something that I'm focusing on. Like I said earlier, I'm much more inclined to work on my sensor project um, than work on deny list entries. So if it just happens that I see one, or it's like obviously if it's impeding on my miners, then I'm going to be a little bit more frustrated about it and like point it out more. But of course, I trust people to make those decisions, and like I might just message someone else that really cares about that and be like, hey, can you check this out for me? I think it's a suspect, but I don't know. So so they've been helpful in that too. And so if you need more about that, reach out to the mods on the Helium Discord, or send this video to some people who are frustrated about gamers and want to do something, right? Because if we crowdsource it, then we all can get those entries in together. Let's see here. Yeah, so that was it for sensor talk. I know that there's a lot of other people really interested in sensors. Um, Mark Phillips, business whatever head of business development at Helium, told me, I guess I was like, what's the one thing? Like, I can understand YouTubing and unboxing and what it's like building towers, but like, what's the one thing you need the most support on over any other? And he said sensors, without a doubt. So if you've got sensor projects, just start on dev. Like I think that there may even be grassroots efforts to get like a DAO going just on sensors or something like that. I'm not positive on that, but I could see that happening, that there just become these little communities or pockets of people that are really interested in sensor development. Um, Regarding sensors, how reliable is the network with these minor outages and such? So, I mean, obviously, if the network is down, then those packets can't get across. But Helium has explicitly said nothing has stopped, like full stop, right, through the light hotspot implementation. Like data is still being transferred, like actual data transfer, paid DC is being burnt to spend to transfer data, and then of course proof of coverage stuff is still going on, albeit a little less. But the data transfer, like in the prioritization, like that's what we need. So the network's got to be up to receive data. So. Oh, okay. So POC was down for a little bit. And yes. Obviously, it's still working to some degree, but data is still working. So let's see here. Whew, lots of stuff to cover. Okay. So basically, we reached the end of the show. While you all talk up your questions, or queue any more AMA type questions, I'll talk a little bit more about 5G. Last night, I did call into um, the community call for pollen, and I've never talked about pollen on any of the videos. I am lurking in their Discord, which is a great way to do your own research, right? Listen to them, see what they're doing. I think one of the big Helium advocates, James Fael, is also in there, and he's definitely playing a part. So I listened to that community call, and so we talked about the Denylist tonight, and they were talking about gaming, 5G gaming already happening on pollen, and what to do about it. And it sucks because like in their values, they're like freedom, like that's what they want, right? No restrictions, anonymity, all that kind of stuff, and yet they're still having to talk about like some sort of like bans or whatever, and that sucks because you still have to deal with that. So they're having the same problems we are in a different way, but it's frustrating to that, for them, because they're building this network, right? It's still grassroots at this point. So I would kind of compare it back to what is it, the famous Helium famous situation about Meerkat, and then of course the Modesto group, right? Those were ye old examples of in the Helium gaming, and so Pollen is encountering that as well. So it's frustrating, but honestly, for me, I'm actually glad that they're doing it. I'm glad that they're running forward with the 5G implementations, because even when Helium gets to it, we're still going to struggle with it, right? Gaming will still be applicable, and plus gaming is just so prevalent, especially on Helium. It's just gonna be like, okay, how can we do it, right? The security of the project is good, so the confidence in the project is good, so they know that the tokens are going to be worth it. So gaming is going to be right there, so they're going to have to get the 5G stuff right. And I think that that's another reason, I mean, aside from the obvious things about the technology maturing, and implementations maturing, and the business agreements getting all in, it's there's a lot to lend to the delays in 5G, and of course with light hotspots too. So yeah, it was kind of refreshing to listen in on their call and say, man, that sucks. yeah, we're all figuring this out, right? Um, Let's see here. I still don't have an outdoor antenna. I would love to put one up on my tower. Those things are just too darn expensive. I think I saw a question earlier about will antenna prices go down? And honestly, I don't think that they will. I think that those are a pretty high cost for a reason. There's a lot backing it. And I think that there's even some behind the scenes like configuration and documentation, like maybe even like FCC type of stuff. I'm not sure on that, right? I'm very naive right now when it comes to 5G stuff. I know that there's even that CPI certification. And I've thought about getting it, looked it up, and it's like $600 for an actual certificate, or you can take the class for like $400, but you don't have a certificate. But I was thinking about doing that. But everything is like token price is low. I don't want to sell any more tokens. Like I've already had to part with enough just to pay for, standard things and even taking a little bit of profits, right? So I don't want to do that. So yeah, at this point, I'm definitely hitting hitting the manufacturers hard for, hey, let me demo something. I will create all this content, even if it's kind of pointless. And that's, I mean, what I know about putting it on my tower, like in a suburb, is like basically pointless, right? There's already great coverage from um, there's already great coverage from existing providers, so it doesn't make sense to put a tower up in the suburbs when there's already good coverage. But the thing is, like, I want to do it for content creation and sharing my learnings, like operating all this, right? There's plenty of reason to support it. So, um, yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. Don't want to sell. I look at those $7,000 antennas. I'm like, oh, that would be really cool to put that up on the tower. My tower would probably start leaning over or something. Uh, Anyways, yeah. Okay, looking through other questions, I did see one about the Helium House. My intention is to go. I think not for consensus itself, but just for the event. So looking for you know how to pay for that is going to be a thing. I'm interested in going. So I think that there's plenty of interest. And seeing. So Matt, you missed it. Helium House is a get together for all the Helium folks. It's down in Austin. It's going to happen kind of at the tail end of consensus. Um, Grant for one. That seems odd, but I don't know. Maybe I could put in a grant request, or if there's sponsorship. I was even as I've helped out Emirates a lot. I was going to be like, hey, how about you pay my trip? And I mean, I already got your swag, so I can just wear that to the conference and shill Emirates, which I should probably give one for them. Is that they did launch. I wish this was a year ago. It would have been so awesome a year ago. They so they launched basically it's like you pay $100 and you get X, like I think it was like 20% earnings. Let me look it up now because they're kind of probably gonna get fussy that I didn't get it right. I did retweet it. Okay, so here we go. You pay $100 and you get 30% earnings. You pay $200 and you get 50% earnings, and then you pay $300 and then you get 70% earnings, and that's all one-time payment. So that's pretty awesome. Is that like you can have any of those that you want, and it's actually pretty cool that they're starting it. It's just like, how much do you want to pay for these miners, or for the earnings, right? So that's pretty cool. So hats off to Emirates for launching that program. I wish it was last year, or even when they started launch. They've had a really interesting thing, but I think an interesting past. But I think it's looking bright for them in the future, as long as they get like the whole supply chain gets figured out. So and they haven't told me about anything. I've never taken like money. They like Emirate has never paid me. Even my referrals, like I lost my referrals to something that happened, some database error that they couldn't recover from. So, so it was just out of the goodness of my heart, I stayed there. And there was a lot of referrals that came from the early days of when Emirate customers were wanting their own miners, and so I would hang out with them, and then of course they'd see the YouTube channel stuff on their setups. Um, and that was the whole reason why I started it, was because the earnings were so low. I still wanted to help people get their earnings up. So a little bit of how I got here. Let's what else? Yeah, so my intention is I do want to go to Helium House. I want to have some drinks with all y'all, and I can prepare for saying that in Texas, because it's going to be in Austin, Texas, and yeah, I'll be flying down and going to that. So thinking about all the things down there. Of course, I got to get cost predictions. I guess the ticket prices have been for plane tickets are going higher too. So yeah, grant idea is not a bad idea. All right. What else? That's it. I'm not seeing any other questions. The when Emirate 5G. I don't know if I think that they were going to get into 5G. There was they're also into something else. They haven't no spoilers. I didn't sign any NDAs, so they can't tell me anything that's secret. But they are definitely working on other stuff. There's other stuff in the pipe, and not just like this kind of hosting idea. They're like I think I know I saw them post a head of DeFi position. So I think that they're about to branch out to more than just a host company. Like this is going to be a little thing to them, I think. So it's going to be interesting on how they develop. I'm going to be watching them with quite interest. Is seeing where they go in the future. And that's it. We are at an hour and a half. I knew this live stream would go long. I hope you've enjoyed it. My voice is pretty hoarse. I just want to say thanks for y'all jumping in here. Hopefully you can share this with some other people and get them informed on Denylist stuff, light hotspots. Just share the crap out of this, and also pump that drop for manufacturers tomorrow at 8 a.m. for minted, if you want to get a hotspot really quickly. And yeah, just thanks for watching. Link to Helium House. Yes, I will drop that in the chat here. Let's go get that, because I think I gave the wrong link earlier. So I want to make sure that I get that to you before I close up shop here. All right. Helium.com/house. There you go. That's so easy. Yeah. Okay. So I did post it, but for some reason it wants to. There you go. But it's not clickable. There you go. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Y'all take care. Practice radical empathy. Lord knows we need it. Yeah. And until next time, carpe diem, everyone. See you later.